jokes and cracking streams. Pop culture jokes explode at the seams. When a laps round circus biker car. Speed so far, like shooting stars. Motorsports mania, gotta watch his channels. Take you from pit stops to panel. Virtuoso on asphalt and gravel. Commentary unravel. Grip the mic like a steering wheel. Real feel, no pretense, all deal. Loves motorsports, don't get it twisted. With his laugh hypnotic and listed. Faces fear with humor and rap. Yo Trevor, tell him about that bubble rap man. Taking command, fearless dude, pop in hand. Watch him go live, vibe so grand. Motorsports knowledge, broad as the land. Comedy tight, wrap him up tight. Crack a pop, no fight, all flight. Trevor rises, reach a new height. Bubble rap king doing right. Pop a bubble, feel the rumble. Trevor never stumble. Pedal to metal, adrenaline treble. Jokes and gears never settle. Commentate, captivate. Motorsport magnate. Live stream scene, his domain. Poppin' jokes like champagne. See him racing, fast pace. Heart racing, laughing faces. Motor chasing, commentator. Banter level major. From the track to chat, never flat. You know where the fun at. Trevor Byers bringing fire. Bubble rap man, true admire. Bubble rap man, taking command. Fearless dude, pop in hand. Watch him go live, vibe so grand. Motorsports knowledge, broad as the land. Comedy tight, wrap him up tight. Crack a pop, no fight, all flight. Trevor rises, reach a new height. Bubble rap king doing right. Taking command, fearless dude popping in. Watch him go live, vibe so grand. Motorsports knowledge broad as the land. Comedy tight, wrap him up tight. Crack a pop, no fight, all flight. Trevor rises, reach a new height. Bubble rap king doing right. Trevor Byers, commentator, live streamer like a motorsports dreamer. Crackling jokes and cracking streams. Pop culture jokes explode at the seams. When a laps round circus biker car. Speed so far, like shooting stars. Motorsports mania, gotta watch his channels. Take you from pit stops to panel. Virtuoso on asphalt and gravel. Commentary unravel. Grip the mic like a steering wheel. Real feel, no pretense, all deal. Loves motorsports, don't get it twisted. With his laugh hypnotic and listed. Faces fear with humor and rap. Yo Trevor, tell him about that bubble rap man. Taking command, fearless dude, pop in hand. Watch him go live, vibe so grand. Motorsports knowledge, broad as the land. Comedy tight, wrap him up tight. Crack a pop, no fight, all flight. Trevor rises, reach a new height. Bubble rap king doing right. Pop a bubble, feel the rumble. Trevor never stumble. Pedal to metal, adrenaline treble. Jokes and gears never settle. Commentate, captivate. Motorsport magnate. Live stream scene, his domain. Poppin' jokes like champagne. See him racing, fast pace. Heart racing, laughing faces. Motor chasing, commentator. Banter level major. From the track to chat, never flat. You know where the fun at. Trevor Byers bringing fire. Bubble rap man, true admire. Bubble rap man, taking command. Fearless dude, pop in hand. Watch him go live, vibe so grand. Motorsports knowledge, broad as the land. Comedy tight, wrap him up tight. Crack a pop, no fight, all flight. Trevor rises, reach a new height. Bubble rap king doing right.
123 of this charismatic French bulldog Hank will be waiting for him at home and will be saying, woof, 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 woof.
Very lucky he didn't do the first hour because he could have quite literally been a fish out of water, but thankfully for Nemo, he knows how to navigate these conditions.
Their usual thing and going tits up, but we've got 6 hours, that's right, 6 hours to go here, and we're only on lap 1.
Not too far away from Immortal Nick, but Immortal Nick right behind Vert Wheeler here, but Vert Wheeler still got to do that mandatory pit stop.
You can see there Vanessa enjoying this. She goes, "Oh, you're so brilliant and funny," and she absolutely loving that stream over there at 7 a.m. and this guy down there side by side with Random, and then it's Hoot Corp. Look at this down Kemmel Straight, Prince, as the team radio beeps are coming in, flying under the radar. Welcome to you, and it's so close. Is there going to be contact? Charismatic French bulldog Hank will be waiting for him at home and will be saying, woof, 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 woof.
Very lucky he didn't do the first hour because he could have quite literally been a fish out of water, but thankfully for Nemo, he knows how to navigate these conditions.
Morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're watching right around the world. Hello and welcome to round 3 of 4 of the SUDSPEED Lifeline Charity Series. With thanks to SUDSPEED Lifeline, we are here at Silverstone here this evening, and the turnout is a little bit down, but still we're going to have fun in these Aston Martin cars. Show us your Aston as Rain of Fire there. Big shout out to the Nigerian Prince, who will be joining me very, very shortly alongside me in the commentary box for the raid, sending all of these beautiful people over, raiding with a party of 11 viewers. And let's just not talk about Elroy, because that was a little bit controversial earlier on, as I welcome the man alongside me who was taken out by a South African named Elroy earlier this evening. I speak of Chuck Norris. And Chuck, did he know that you are Chuck Norris?
Yeah, unfortunately for Elroy, it ended up, kind of roundhouse kicking both of us out of the race. But no, controversies aside, is what it is. But yeah, we've been having a good charity month so far. We're, day 15, we're almost halfway through, Trev, and obviously, we're over halfway now through the SUDSPEED Lifeline Charity Series. Obviously tonight, Aston GT4s around Silverstone, even though the stream title says Suzuka. I'll change that in a moment. But yeah, no, look, I'm looking forward to tonight. It's going to be another good one.
That's sorry, it was a little bit of a haphazard intro coming into tonight. We had some technical issues. I couldn't get into the lobby, but it is race 3, round 3 of the Charity Month series. Aston Martin GT4s at Silverstone. A reminder: this isn't a reminder to speak English. This isn't a championship series. It's a one-off race for charity, open to anyone. And you know the drill. We had a brief practice session, more for the drivers to load in. 10-minute session, all cars out on the circuit. No overtaking on the outlap. 2 sets of tyres and a 45-minute race, if you don't mind there. And we've got 13 people watching so far as the Nigerian Prince does his thing. Here we go, Nick, with a 2 minutes 10.527. And Prince, if nothing else, I cannot see any rain coming on this abandoned World War II airfield here this evening.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we've got any moisture provisionally, so maybe we need to up those levels for the final round next week. But no, I mean, Silverstone's always a good track to have a good race at. It provides some really good close racing as well. So, these guys, they're not letting up in qualifying. Immortal Nick holding off Kilroy by just over 4.5 tenths there. So it's getting very close there.
As you can see there, Elroy not welcome this evening. And if you caught that stream, and I know that Rain of Fire did, along with Nismo, says 0 practice gang, let's go. And Ricardo says "We say guten Tag," and I said guten Willkommen, which is good welcome to him. So not even getting the translation right there. But we take a look at Nick, 2 minutes 10.527. I'm struggling to speak English tonight this evening, Chuck, and it's not for the first time that we've seen something like this. But overall, how are we tracking this charity month? I think we're halfway through, aren't we, exactly now?
Yeah, so tomorrow will be the halfway through day, theoretically tomorrow being day 16 of 31. I guess you could say today's kind of the brink of the halfway mark. But yeah, so far we're doing really good. So I've got to update my totals, but I think we've raised about $860 something so far. We've also raised $120 through glove sales, and the lads that have been helping me in their own streams, they've also raised an extra $223 on top of that. So yeah, we're definitely over the $1,200 mark overall right now. So yeah, with that being said, if you guys do want to make a donation, please be sure to use !Lifeline in the chat.
Absolutely fantastic. We are at almost at the halfway point of the charity month, and doing some incredible things there. 800,000. I wish it was $800,000, but we're only a few hundred thousand off of that. But still a great effort there. As Nick, look at this down hanger straight, heading towards Stowe at 209.950. Kilroy now into the pits. And he's 6 tenths further back. Only a couple of minutes remaining in this session. Jimbo Jones in somewhat of a surf life-saving style livery there, or crash test dummy lifesaver type livery. Darskin as well, you can see there, and Mayonnaise in P6, and then it is Hammer time for him. Exo in the 666 GT4, Chipperton as well, a little bit further down than where he'd like to be. Mark Ledwidge, Craigio as well, and Nismo yet to set a time. So he's coming in tonight, Chuck, with 0 practice. But sometimes having 0 practice can just relieve that little bit of pressure. But we know practice makes perfect. What's your viewpoint on practice? I guess if you come in and get walloped by an Elroy, it doesn't make a lot of difference as Nismo gets silly salmon.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, practice is always good, you know, especially this charity series. It's kind of just, we're all getting together for a 4-week mini series, 45-minute races. So, you know, it depends on how much practice you actually want to put in for something like this, but definitely an endurance race of any kind, definitely making sure that you're acclimatized to the setup, making sure that, you know all the quirks and the kinks, so to speak, of the setup, so that way you can minimize any mistakes that kind of might come your way is definitely the way to go. So, I mean, for a sprint series like this, you know, sometimes no practice is good because then your expectations are, you know, bare minimum. So everything to achieve and going from there.
Everything to go, as you can see, inside the final minute of this qualifying session. Nismo Nath, boss of Hooncorp Esports there. A little bit of lag on my screen, but track temperatures 32 degrees, 27 degrees is the air temperature. Optimum is how the track is looking at the moment. No real sign of rain, some clouds around as we see Hammer come back into the pits now. But let's have a look at Nismo Nath across the line, and it's going to be well outside the 2 9s and the 2 10s there, as Crago then also donning that surf lifesaving livery made famous by Jimbo Johnson. Can we tell people in the chat why are they all shy for, Chuck? What on earth is going on here? They're very shy tonight. Rain of Fire just coming across from the raid for V is for Voodoo Live. Going to get my little Twitch counter happening too, because a little bit jelly that Prince is the other side of 400. But I'm 393. I was lurking all week, Chuck Norris, trying to make new friends and trying to catch your 400 on the stream.
Yeah, I've seen you've been doing quite a bit of networking through the week. Every now and again, I've kind of, you know, jumped in behind the scenes to jump onto your stream and go, oh, where are all these follows coming from, Trev? But yeah, no, look, if you guys are out there, definitely be sure to consider hitting that follow button. Not only do we have an amazing race currently underway for qualifying right now, but next week we've got the season final, I guess you could say, of the charity series. And obviously we've got the 4 hours of Kailami, the Oz New Zealand Endurance Series, which will be our charity endurance event next week. So you don't want to miss out on any of that action. Make sure to hit that follow button.
Absolutely amazing race. Let's hope it's going to be an amazing race. That is the end of qualifying, as Jason gives us the thumbs up, or the cans up there, if you know what I'm trying to say. Cheers, Constable Wilkinson. And he will be starting those classes where he needs to talk like that and not like a regular person. We need to just, you know, investigate these matters, and we do have several persons of interest. So we'll be they will be helping us deal with our inquiries in Murray Valley Hills in South Australia. So there we go, the end of qualifying. It is an amazing race. Let's hope it's an amazing race. That was a TV show, wasn't it? The Amazing Race back in the day. I was more of a Who Dares Wins man, if anyone remembers that show. Or, boy, I'm showing my age at the moment, Chuck Norris, but if you dive out of a helicopter into a pool of sharks with explosions going off around you, we'll give you $50. And if anyone remembers that show, type it in on YouTube. It's an absolute classic with the great man Mike Whitney. As there we go, the end of qualifying. 209.950 is we'll see Nick on to pole position there by a lengthy margin from Kilroy. Matchin in third place there. Jimbo Johnson, Joey Jojo Jr. doing well there in fourth. Dask in fifth. Chipperton, Exo, and very purple looking car, that one, very nice indeed. Mayonnaise, and can be substituted for butter on your toasties, just because of the whole egg mayonnaise and the egg content it does get a good sear on your toasties, Prince, if you don't have any real butter there. Mark, just rounding out the top 10. Nismo, P11, very upset with that, I suspect, but he'll have a track day somewhere in Wakatempo that he'll need to go to very, very shortly. Craigo EO in 12th. And I'm in 13th. As we get ready to go racing, Prince, we might hear from a word of our sponsors there. Geez, I always have to be away for races in which I would be fast enough to get a W, says Rain of Fire. And Jason saying, no, I do not talk like that at the moment. And Chuck Norris, we might hear a word from our sponsors and then come back with the race here at Silverstone. Round 3, race 3 of the SUDSPEED Lifeline Charity Series. We'll be back in just a few moments. Stay with us.
We are on lap 123 of this charismatic French bulldog. Hank will be waiting for him at home and he'll be saying, woof, woof, woof.
Very lucky he didn't do the first hour because he could have quite literally been a fish out of water. But thankfully for Nemo, he knows how to navigate these conditions.
We've got 6 hours, that's right, 6 hours to go here, and we're only on lap 1.
Not too far away from Immortal Nick, but Immortal Nick right behind Vert Wheeler here, but Vert Wheeler still got to do that mandatory pit stop.
You can see there Vanessa enjoying this. She goes, oh, you're so brilliant and funny, and she absolutely loving that stream over there at 7 a.m. And please guy down there side by side with Random, and then it's Hoot Corp. Look at this down Kemmel Straight, Prince, as the team radio beeps are coming in, flying under the radar. Welcome to you, and it's so close. Is there going to be contact?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 15 people out there watching this race, or they're about to watch this race. 45 minutes of racing ahead of us as our pole position man creeps off from the line and begins warming up his tyres. Long formation lap. I tell you what we might do. We might take a look at this circuit once the black screen turns into something much more. Big shout out to Andrelli. And look at that, a Kid Buyers production. And how good is this? We are at Silverstone in the UK. We're getting on the plane. Look at this. We're flying across the vast ocean. 18 corners located in England, along with most of my family members as well. That's a story for another day. Start finish line, turn 1, Cops Corner. That famous corner where Max and Lewis both had their incident a few years ago. Maggots and Beckett's, Aintree, of course, between those two, onto the Hangar Straightler and down to Stowe Corner, then into Vale and former World War II airfield. And you can play a drinking game every time I tell you that. Have a sip or a shot of your whiskey. And turns 13, 14. Very difficult to get right, and as we continue on, Brooklyn's Corner, turn 15 before we wind our way around the rest of the lap. Turn 17 at Luffield, of course, a corner where you can possibly set up some passing opportunities for later in the lap and then back around to the start finish. Thank you to Andrelli for that wonderful track preview there. All thanks to our good friend Andrelli, who's he's a top bloke from Wodonga, isn't he, Chuck Norris? Fantastic work from him.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Andrelli started giving us these flyovers and track previews a few months ago, and I don't know what we'd do without them now, Trev, because it's a great insight for those that might not know the layout of the circuits that we use or anything like that. It kind of gives them an idea of, okay, so these are the corners that we're going to be navigating, and this is kind of how tricky it could be. So it's a great little bit of insight from Andrelli.
Absolutely. Big hello to Andrelli too, who is no doubt out there watching from somewhere. And let's go Kilroy, says Spawn Racing. We are almost ready to go, actually. Having said that, we are continuing the formation lap. And you can see 12 drivers right from Nick. We'll go through the grid quickly before we get underway here this evening. Machin, Jimbo Jones looking racy there. And Dask in 5th, Chipperton, Exo. And Mayonnaise, whole egg mayonnaise there in 8th, 9th for Hammer. Beautiful looking livery there, the gold livery. And a bit of a shame to not see these GT4s, the Aston Martin in the James Bond sort of British racing. Well, James Bond's car wasn't green, was it? But anyway, I waffle on, I'm digressing because there's Craigo and there is Nismo Nath. And the boss of Hooncorp Esports, he'll be getting ready to go racing, as will everyone here. And, oh, Jimbo, was that a bit of a nudge there? Jimbo getting very racy there, kangarooing there on the 2nd row in P4, but we are almost ready. Race 3 out of 4 just tonight. Look at that, and Kilroy very keen to get on with things. Nick is slowing them up. And they've got to stay in their lane. There's all sorts of rules and regulations associated with the start of these races. But Exo for a top 3 tonight. You heard it here first from from who are you? From Rain of Fire. But we're getting ready to go racing. Kilroy alongside Nick, ahead of Machin and Jimbo. First 2 rows of the grid. We're all ready to go racing here. 12 drivers. 6 on one side of the grid, 6 on the other. We are almost ready. If someone could be kind enough to try and get the timing right with those Mario Kart lights, forget about it, it's too late. And we are off and racing, and Nick into turn 1 in the lead. He dominated qualifying, and he's dominating the opening couple of corners of this one. Kilroy not too far behind. Jimbo Johnson looking racy indeed. A very peculiar looking marshal there waving the green flag. Thanks very much for that. These British marshals, don't we love them? And let's go! And Nick getting a little bit silly. Salmon there coming onto the hangar straight. And we've got a yellow flag. Chuck Norris, cars 10 and 3. They are in some hodswaddle here at the moment.
Looked like a bit of a pickle, bit of a mess, I should say, going into Nuggets and Buckets there. You know, someone looked like they maybe got ran down the inside. Maybe a little bit of a mess and people trying to find their way through. But you know, they're rejoining the circuit. Looks like no harm, no foul, and you know, they'll continue on. It's a long 45 minutes, so head down, lads.
Head down, focus. That's what I tell the Nigerian prince, Chuck Norris. Can't even dig up his own garden. Ends up coming out the other side in Szechuan. Oh, Craigo! Craig just running very wide there. You can see it in the background, but look at this pack. Look at this lot. You'll never see a more interesting pack of cars in a day's hunting, but Craigo is all over the shop. Nismo has gained a position up to 9th now, Chuck.
Yeah, Craigio looked like he kind of compromised his line a little bit, went really wide, might have picked himself up a track warning, and Nismo decided, you know what, I want to capitalise on that down the inside as he's capitalising again on Mark. Nismo, no practice, Trev, and he's mowing his grid down. He's trying to claw his way through. He's already up to P8.
Look at this. P8. Is it going to be P7 very, very shortly? Because Nismo, the man who came in, said no practice, 0 practice. He is absolutely killing them at the moment. You've got to say that. He's gone from P12 to P8, continuing the march now, but let's get back to business because Nick is not quite departing this race, but he has his bags packed, he's got his boarding pass and aeroplane tickets booked. Been so long since I've had a holiday, wouldn't even know what that meant really, to be in the departure lounge at the international departures. But 2.4 seconds, opening lap, Chuck, Is he away? We're hearing that EXO will get in the top 3 according to Rain of Fire. That's really bold, putting your nuts to the wall early.
Yeah, it definitely is. But before I jump into it, I'm let the TTS have a field
This
day.
for Voodoo
Oh,
just
yes.
subscribed for 19 months. Hello Trevor Byeth, how are you? You doing well? I'm all ready to have a fun SUDSPEED X Lifeline charity theoryth round at Silverstone in the
This is,
GT4. This is going to be a blast.
Mike Tyson! Oh, imagine! Down! No, Kilroy, imagine! I just want to say big thank you to everybody, Mr. Voodoo. I love it, Voodoo. You're so amazing. And 41 minutes to go, Matchin and Kilroy. Oh, Kilroy running very wide there, but just manages to keep his nose in front of Mike Tyson. And look at that charity round at Silverstone on the Aston grid. This is going to be a blah. Hello, happy 19 months. Oh, wow, Mike Tyson. And thank you for that. Subscribing to Tier 1 for 19 months, Chuck. And Jimbo, where is he sailing off to there in P4?
Yeah, Jimbo's trying to plunder the booty, but unfortunately the booty is within track limits that he's got to plunder, so he's definitely pushing a lot harder than what he needs to be right now. I feel like he's costing himself a little bit too much time making these small mistakes. You know, before he knows it, he might have Dask and Chipperton, who are not too far behind, clawing in, but Matchin and Kilroy, this is a good battle trip. We saw them going too wide a little bit ago, and yeah, this is a good race so far. I'm loving this.
Absolutely loving this. 5 minutes in, 40 minutes to go in a 45-minute race. Clear skies in the UK is not something you can say all the time, but Matchin and Kilroy, have they swapped now? Kilroy up to P2, and you can see there on your screen the gap is almost 0, with 0.413 ahead of it. And big shout out, yes, we know, Voodoo subscribing for 19 months. And you can see that's several babies there. 19 months, several. Oh, Matchin straight off towards. Oh my goodness! He just speared across the track like spearfishing off the coast of South Australia with Chuck Norris.
yeah, I don't think Jimbo's the only one looking for the secret shortcut in Mario. I think there's quite a few people out there at the moment. You know, it's very easy to make a mistake through Maggots and Beckett's, let alone I've not personally driven the Aston GT4, but you know, the GT4 class is a little bit slower, it feels a bit more like a boat, but they are good fun. You know, I love the Camaro and the Maserati, so those are the only ones I've tested, so I take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, these lads, you know, if they're not careful, they'll be donating to the track limit gods here.
They certainly will be. And Rain of Fire chipping in. Big hello to Rain. Jimbo looking for the Mario Kart secret shortcut. Do you remember, was it the beach track on the, we will race them on the beaches. And yes, do you remember you had to do that jump and go through the tunnel on the beach? And yeah, I'd love to play. We should do a stream of Mario Kart if there's some sort of emulator or something, Rain of Fire. But a big hello to you, Rain of Fire, up there in far north Queensland, playing in your over 35s AFL tournament. Hope you're having a good time. I think that's what he does, unless I'm getting him mixed up with someone else. But Dask now getting busy. Jimbo in that Lifesaver livery. I don't think Jimbo's been swimming between the track limit flags at the moment, Chuck, because he's under pressure from Dask here.
Yeah, he definitely hasn't. He looks like he's caught a bit of time back from Matchin. I think it was about 2.5 seconds before, but you know, the battle those guys were having slowed him down a little bit. Jimbo now updates to 2.1 seconds. So yeah, the mistakes he's making, it's, you know, we mentioned it a little bit ago, didn't we? That Dask was going to claw up and, you know, he's going to find himself in a battle, but, you know, this might all be what Chipperton wants. You know, if these guys battle, maybe a mistake happens. Chipperton's like, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And he doesn't need to have a door left ajar more than once, as Chipper getting very Chipperton. Twinsies, Rain of Fire, that's right. We're practically twins. just like that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito movie. We'll keep an eye on this battle. But one in March 88, one in May 88 by Centennial Babies. And we got special birth certificates too, Rain of Fire as well. And yes, you can see Dask and Jimbo there doing battle. That's keeping Chipperton very, very interested. Exo there, who I believe Rain of Fire tipped to get inside the top 3. Well, not impossible, as Rain of Fire says, I'm clearly the Danny DeVito of the two of us there, in reference to my twins remark. Does that mean that I'm Arnold? Does that mean that I'm Arnold if you're Danny? And there we go, that's meant to be Arnold. But Nismo continuing to fight, and boy, this man, he's got the street smarts, doesn't he, Chuck? Growing up on the streets of Christchurch, and he's putting them to good use here.
Yeah, definitely is. He came into this with 0 practice and put himself onto P11. He managed to walk his way up to P8, I believe it was, on the opening lap alone. And, you know, he's dropped back to P9 now, not too far behind Mark. So, yeah, the battle's kind of continuing on. That battle was closer than what it was before. Jimbo Dask obviously having at it as well. But, yeah, this is what this charity series is all about, Trev, making sure that we're utilising different cars to what we normally do. And, you know, it kind of brings that essence of fun back into the play.
It certainly is. As Jimbo, hello Jimbo, he's into the pit lane now. Keep an eye on that 50-kilometre mark or whatever it is as Hammer now. I haven't spoken about this man too much. Yes, of course, that's right, Rain of Fire. You got to say, Ricardo, Guten Morgen, I said to him this morning, which was very embarrassing because he's not German, he's actually Dutch. You've got to love it. These GT4s, they make for some incredible racing. And like I said, apologies for speaking to you in German, Ricardo. And a very good Hagen-Dazs to you. And that's a brand of ice cream, isn't it? Rain of Fire says, get to the chopper. Come on, kill me. I'm right here. And there we go. Thanks for that hammer. But can we explain why Lifesaver Jimbo Johnson Jojo Jr. is in the pits this early? Because this is terrible for him if he's indeed on the set of Baywatch now as he comes back out onto the circuit. Is he just getting it out of the way, Chuck, do we think?
Yeah, so I think he came in to get his one mandatory pit stop out of the way. So for the viewers out there, just keep in mind we've got one mandatory pit stop. It's minimum 25 seconds to take the fuel, but if you do want to take tyres, it's an extra 5 seconds on top of that. But I reckon he came in early, Trev, just to get it out of the way, come out in some clean air. Maybe he was finding himself making too many mistakes early on, and he's like, right, if I come in, I pit, I get this out of the way, then I can almost reset myself and kind of go, right, let's attack this in a different format for the next 35 minutes.
And it's an interesting tactic, of course. He is a very interesting man, our Jimbo Johnson Jr. But getting out of the way, like you said, getting that pit stop out of the way early, because mandatory pit stop means that it is mandatory and you have to come into the pits at least once, and he will get some clear air there as well. So we'll keep an eye on how Jimbo Jones is doing there. But Nick now 5.4. He's pulling out 1 point something or other seconds each lap. Incredible dominance from Nick. And he is sitting pretty in P1, numero uno. But 19 people watching Chuck Norris. Big shout out to SUDSPEED. Can we get an update on SUDSPEED, please, for our beautiful 19 viewers?
Yeah, so SUDSPEED came on board with us this year for our charity series, and not only that, our charity month that we've been hosting. So if you guys do want to check them out, !SUDSPEED in the chat. We are actually running a giveaway over the course of this month that will be drawn on the 31st of August at about 7:30 p.m. Victorian time. Obviously 31st of August, but yeah. !SUDSPEED, go and check them out. They've got 3 sets of gloves, although one is sold out. They're releasing 3 new designs soon, so check them out. If you want to purchase yourself a pair of gloves, use code LIFELINE at checkout. You'll get 10% off each pair of gloves, and on top of that, they'll also be donating $22.28 per pair that you purchase.
Absolutely magnificent gloves there. We've got the black and red you can see on your screen as we get back to this battle. between Kilroy and Machen, and a fantastic battle they're having. They've got the Alpha Tauri colours, don't they, or whatever that team is now, V-Carb and RB, and they've got all other sorts of colours, like I said, black and red, and the white and blue, and hog whistle, and that's sort of a honeycomb colour, I think. I wanted to paint my house out in hog bristle at one point, but using code LIFELINE, 10% off. That's incredible. That's 1/10 off the purchase price. Added bonus will donate $22.28. That's very specific. $22.28 per pair of gloves you purchase. And as Rain of Fire, oh, Machen into the pits, pulling his finger out early, coming into the pits, Chuck, as he travels. Oh, is he down to 50, Chuck? I just start to wet my whistle when I see that, because it's just so... I don't know what I'm trying to say, Chuck, but you have to get below that speed limit, otherwise you're going to pay the price coming into the pits here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this isn't the Price is Right, Trev. You know, this is very much you either hit 50 kilometers an hour or you will get stung by the stewards. But yeah, the pit lane here can be pretty interesting. In a GT4, you naturally take it a little bit more carefully, but in a GT3, I mean, one of my famous moments here was actually, you know, being about 130 kilometers an hour on the bend of the pit lane there. And just before the pit board, I was like, I'm going too quick. So I binned it into the wall, took 8 seconds of damage, saved getting a stop go 30. So yeah, making sure that you slow down well early. You know, you might lose yourself a second or two, but it's definitely worth it over a penalty.
Absolutely. Oh, team radio. Oh, it's just Beaky tuning in. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to you, Beaky. And you join us at a very, very critical time in this race. Big hello to Karingal, everybody down that part of the world. He is a Victorian, that's for sure. And there's not many of us left. Rain of Fire wants to know why Victorian time, why not Eastern Standard Time? That's very statish of you, Voodoo. And it's even worse for Europeans to understand, says Ricardo Gutenhagen. And I can highly recommend the Bruce gloves, Chuck. They're coming in with a big wrap on them. Melbourne and Sydney time. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to you. Beaky has joined us, and we can see you out there lurking. And if you are indeed lurking, consider following the stream. Have we got somebody in some trouble? Machen is stopped on the track. He is stopped, and those enthusiastic marshals are nowhere to be seen, Chuck Norris. They have left him stranded. Oh, now he's got going again. What on earth could have possibly happened there?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. You know, it's not like he came out of pit lane. Maybe something kind of was not going okay in that moment and needed to pull over. Maybe the wheel disconnected or something. I'm not sure. That's a weird one, Trev.
And is this a Renault engine giving up, says Ricardo. G'day from Beaky to Rain of Fire. Hope you're well enjoying the big boy bed. I'm in heaven, says Rain of Fire. But very strange there. In fact, the most ironic part about it was that the only time the marshals haven't been waving flags is when someone actually did stop on the circuit. And there you can see very static looking 2D marshals there. But we've got someone else off it. Is it Machen into the pits? And that is the Twilight Zone music, because Machen now looks like he could be out of this race, Chuck Norris. Incredible turn up for the books as Mayonnaise and Craig, and Craig under pressure here from Whole Egg Mayonnaise.
Yeah, unfortunate for Machen. Unsure obviously what happened there, but whatever the issue is, he's decided, you know, I need to just return back to the garage and maybe see what the issue is, and hopefully he can get back out and circulate again. But Mayo, look around the outside, can't get it done. Craigio's defending well. You know, he's got to set up a little bit more, maybe down Hanger Straight, and he can get this one done, Trev.
So we'll keep an eye on this one. Jimbo has gone up to P11. Machen still in the pit lane, not moving. So not sure what happened there. If we could get into the chat. Last week I had a hotel room with a king bed and a spa. Keep thinking of that spa suite off. Remember, oh, Craig, hello. Hello, goodbye, because Mayo has gone past Craig. just talking about something completely off topic there, Chuck, has seen Mayonnaise go through and up into P9, but this man continuing as yellow flags waving there. I believe that could be for Matchett in the pit lane, but the least of his worries, because Nick is pulling out a second a lap. And I'd love to know what that feels like, Chuck, when you're in the zone and you are just pulling away very, very comfortably. And we know it's not as easy as it looks, but Dusk and Kilroy continuing their ding-dong as Chipperton into the pits now, Chuck. So we're finally seeing some pit stop action, and you can see there Chipperton slowing down to the 50 kilometres required. And sponsored by Fanatec on the door there. We won't talk about that much, Fanatec of course, but this livery, Mark Ledwich running a brown and black livery, and Chuck, I've got to say it's not doing a lot for me. Very drab, very middle of the week, sort of wet Wednesday morning feel to it. Could he have possibly done more with those Y-front black, sort of strange looking black copper livery?
Yeah, it almost looks similar to the bean boozled that I was doing earlier today, whether it was either cappuccino or liver and onions. Unfortunately, in my scenario, it was liver and onions today, but the cappuccino one I had a few days ago, and that was actually really good. But it almost gives me the same colours that I see in that bean boozled, Trevor. I don't know, it looks nice, but, you know, there could have been an extra little bit of spice added to that livery.
I reckon it's pretty dull, pretty unimaginative as Mark there goes into that corner. I've got to say, it's just someone's just painted it with copper and put sort of a black mankini sort of interesting looking thing across that. But Nismo now, this is the man from Auckland with no practice whatsoever. And let me tell you, 25-second stop just for fuel. Ricardo, are tyres mandatory? They are not, are they, Chuck? Of course, fuel capped to 25 seconds, or extra 5 seconds if you want tyres. But Nismo getting very racy. He is looking like he is on the verge of a top 4 position here. He's all over the place, really putting Mark off his liver and onions at the moment, because he is getting close, Chuck. My bean boozled senses are tingling here.
Yeah, Nismo's been having a stellar run so far. You know, some of the guys in front of him have made some mistakes. We have seen some early pit stop action as well from Jimbo. Came in, I think it was, 5 to 7 minutes into the race. Matching, unfortunately, having a wheel malfunction and it not wanting to play nice with him tonight. Chipperton as well, he came in early, but, it doesn't dismiss the fact of the run that Nismo's been having. And even Exo as well is sitting P6 at the moment. He's actually having some pretty good running here in the Aston GT4 track.
He certainly is. Copy that. Thank you, Ricardo. We love your feedback. You might not talk like that, but you need to speak more Dutch, don't you? Does I talk like that a little bit more? No, that's terrible. Copy that. Makes sense. Thank you, Ricardo. And you know how they talk a little bit. They're not really neither here nor there. But Rain of Fire, Exo is still hanging in there. Watch him do a Bradbury. Just finishing up, of course, in Paris, the Olympic Games. What about the ray gun? Just use the gold member accent. Thank you, Kid Pies. Spot on. Thank you very much, Ricardo. And yes, it's very good, isn't it? The sort of that kind of accent. But there we go. 9 seconds is the lead. 6/10 further back to Kilroy. Then it's Mark. Then it's Nismo, who is still right behind the copper car. And liver and onions, in fact, I think it's been dubbed already by Chuck Norris. You can see there, Exo. It's a man that went to water his garden in Murray Downs and created a tsunami warning in Czechoslovakia. That's how great he is. But Exo and Mayonnaise in 7th. Things calming down. 4 drivers have made their stops, including this man who's come into the pits and has not left it, which is interesting. So that's terrible for him. A bit of a wheel disconnecto or something going wrong with his wheel. But lap 10 of this race, there is your leader, 27. Are we almost halfway through the race, Prince? Are we halfway through the race? My wheel froze, says Matchin. Mamma mia, that's not good. And I got a comment a while back with, I know you were Dutch, but didn't know you were this Dutch. Thank you very much.
I've heard plenty of Dutch people in my time, but yeah, Ricardo is like, you know how in Australia, how we've got like the scale of like Australian to just bogan Australian? Imagine that scale, but for Dutch, and Ricardo at that far end of that scale.
Yes, so he's full on Dutch, that's for sure. 8.7 is the gap out front, and that is with these two having a good old Dutch ding dong, as it's called there in Amsterdam. And we have plenty of fun over there. And 22 minutes remaining now this race. We're halfway through the race, as Universal Boss confirming that for us. Kilroy in third, Mark in fourth. But has Nismo made a mistake here? He's gone back. It's 1.5 seconds. Is there something fishy going on that we didn't see, Chuck Norris, with the man from Mount Tempo?
Yeah, I think he was a few tenths off Mark, at the start of this lap. So, yeah, maybe he made a misjudgment in a corner. Maybe he thought he could carry a little bit more speed, try and chew a bit more time out. And unfortunately, that didn't work. So, losing maybe a second at best. Not really too bad, but still a big mistake to have in a 45-minute race.
Absolutely. 50% more than me. And that's in response to Ricardo, who's telling us that he's very, very Dutch. And not like me, though. 48% Scottish and 40-something% British. A little bit of Irish and a little teensy bit of Scottish and Welsh there for good measure. Yes, that's right. I'm very white and very privileged indeed. As Das comes into the pits. Wowee! And those supporters there, not behind any catch fencing on the left. Look at them, Prince. Look at them just cheering on invisible cars there. But you can see Darsk in the pits. Where will this see him come out? I wonder. I wonder why she went away. But Darsk into the pits. Interesting call at this part of the race.
Yeah, so it's going to drop him down a fair way, but knowing that he came in at P3, about P3, obviously he came in. So it's going to be interesting to see where that kind of puts him in terms of where Chipperton and Jimbo are, because Chipperton and Jimbo were further up as well when they came in. So if he comes out in front of them, then it's going to be on Kilroy. He's going to be biting that bullet soon. He'll be coming in, 20 minutes to go. You'd expect maybe end of this lap, maybe end of next lap, as we see a lot of pit lane action going on. So yeah, he's going to be someone we need to keep an eye on, Trev.
As Mayonnaise, you are hell of a spot on pick up there, because Exo as well into the pits there. Mayo in as well. And plenty of pit stop action here. We'll wait to see where all this shakes out. Nismo continuing on. You don't want to be doing that. And just like cutting grass at the Invercargill Sports Club, he's gone off the circuit there. As Rainer Fire giving his DNA test to us. He's German, English, and Jewish. And he could declare war on himself, couldn't he? But there we go. We'll leave those ones there. But less than 20 minutes remaining in this race. And Nismo is just bouncing all over the curbs. Not sure what sort of setup he's got on that car, but the bouncing doesn't seem to be worrying him too much. Nick in P1, then it's Kilroy in P2, 9.6 seconds further back. And very interesting, not quite British racing green, it's more of an army green, that colour. And you can see Mark there, still in P3. We're going to say would have been a deadly combination back in 39. Thank you for that, Ricardo. We'll leave that one there. But Craig Oeo, yet to make a stop, Prince, all out on his own in Jimbo Surf Lifesaving colours.
Yes, it seems like obviously our top five are kind of trying to maximise the most, and in that way their final stint is a little bit less. But Mark's now come into pit lane. Nismo's also dived into pit lane. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Is Craigio going to bite the bullet as well? And he is.
let's get you down to speed there. Look at those gentlemen in the VIP Paddock Club Lounge there on the left-hand corner of your screen. Every second one of them is wearing an identical shirt to the 1-2 spots away from it. But anyway, that's all right. That's not about what's happening. A little bit down with numbers here as well, Chuck, in the crowd. But it's still good to see sets of twins every second row there in the grandstands.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's almost like, you know how, what's that? You know how everyone's got a doppelganger in life and it's just a matter of whether you meet them? These guys have got multiple doppelgangers and they all seem to be at the same location.
That enthusiastic spectator there, who's been waving that purple flag around near Cops Corner there. No one in that grandstand. Looks like the ticket prices must have gone up here at Silverstone. But Craig, yo, sponsored by Fanatec there. Seeing a lot of that Fanatec around, of course. But in all honesty, to be honest, wish I'd lived in Australia. Love the country, he says. I wish I lived in Australia. I absolutely love the country. And that's why Rain of Fire's family ended up in the country. Bit of a World War II story behind that one. In all honesty, side of my family that has German and Jewish in it is the most messed up. Okay, why does it always go down this path? Please don't talk about the war. But Jimbo is all over the back of Mankini Markle here, and he is catching up very, very quickly with 16 minutes to go. Jimbo, who's more used to firing cannons and, of course, crew members off of the SS Jimbo Johnson, a ship, of course, that we use on Sea of Thieves, but he is looking for P6, and I reckon he's going to find it very, very shortly if he keeps this pace up, Chuck, as that purple flag waves again.
Yeah, so Kilroy's just dived into pit lane as well, just something I noticed just before. But yeah, it does seem like Jimbo's lost a little bit of time, you know, either by pitting too early, being too cautious coming into pit lane, or even the laps from there on. Obviously, Jimbo pitted 7 or so minutes into this 45-minute race. So yeah, I mean, I almost would have expected Jimbo to maybe be upwards of fighting P5-ish currently. But nonetheless, though, he's on the back of Mark, and this is where we like to see Jimbo.
Let's have a look. I know you're out there lurking. Jimbo's lurking right behind Mark here. And you can see they're all trying to tuck in behind him. And let's see whether he can get a run here. You can see Rain of Fire. Thank you for tuning in along with Ricardo and everybody else if you're out there lurking. Ooh, Jimbo. Got to keep that, don't want to be walking the plank, do you? Got to keep those wheels inside the white lines and inside the field of play. I see you lurking. Please consider following the stream. We'd love to have you as part of the community. And everyone out there watching, great to have you with us. 15 minutes less, in fact, to go in this race on your Thursday night. Let us know in the comment section where you're watching from, whether it's Brisbane or Amsterdam or wherever you are in the world, Murray Downs in the Adelaide Hills. It's great to have you with us. But this is the closest battle on track. The next closest is Mark and Nismo, 5th, 6th and 7th all together there as we take a look at the Doppelganger Grandstand at the end of Hangar Straight. But look how close they are. Nismo's got to be feeling a little bit under pressure here. I've got to say, work, says Spawn Racing, but whereabouts is your work, Spawn? Let us know in the comments, and hopefully we can come and pay you a visit. Hopefully you've got us up on the big screen in the officer's mess, wherever you're working. But Nismo is one step away from a mistake here, and he's going to have Mark and Jimbo all over the back of his Kiwi Ginger.
Yeah, couldn't agree more on that, Trev. You know, one simple mistake from Nismo here can, you know, almost drop him back, guaranteed a position to Mark, but, you know, he might even drop another position back to Jimbo, and he's been on a hard charge. You know, he started P11, came into tonight with 0 practice, obviously threw at P11 and got up to about P8, I'd say, in the opening few laps, and, you know, he's finding himself pretty good now. P5, he wants to minimise as many mistakes as he can now, because 7.7 seconds is a long way to go in the final 13 minutes, but I do see we've got the beautiful man on the screen.
I didn't mean to click that button. Going to see some drive-throughs for track limits shortly. Are we? Yes, that is not. Thus is not a question. Rain of Fire, please let us know if we need to talk to you in English, German or Hebrew, which would suit you best. But Nismo and Mark and Jimbo getting very close for comfort there. Darsk and Kilroy. Interesting there. It seems that Darsk is in P3, Kilroy in P2. So not sure whether there was any undercut advantage there for Darsk, I think it was, who come in. Who was that big hunk of a man? Who was... Get in my sack! Get in it! And yeah, I actually come across a clip of that race the other day from your Twitter. But anyway, that's another story. And you can see how close it is. Mark and then Jimbo Jones. And as Rain of Fire there says, we speak all three languages, a mix of all three. Danke to you, or shalom, as who was das big hunk of a man? Das was me, Rain of Fire. And we are giving away, let me get this clear, we are giving away 2 pairs of SUDSPEED gloves for our charity months, and check them out at SUDSPEED.com. Richard and the team down there, they cannot fill them fast enough. They cannot send those gloves out the door quick enough, Chuck Norris, as Mark running slightly wide. Is that going to give Jimbo? Oh, Mark! Oh, my underpants! In fact, Jimbo has gone off as well. Drifting too far from the shore. And he was drifting too far from the shore on that occasion. And if you do that, Chuck Norris, then there's a fair chance that he's going to come across a shark that's going to be eaten by Chuck Norris.
Yeah, it looked like Mark, he dropped the car off into the grass a little bit. He was really lucky to hold it. And then Jimbo thought, Mark's coming to nibble on my leggies here, and I'm going to, detour and, take another roundabout and, down the highway, and I'll take an express shipping while I'm at it. So he detoured nonetheless to summarise that one, just in case Mark did fully bin it. That way he was out of the way. But yeah, no, that was quick spontaneous action by Jimbo there.
And that has Jimbo 2.1 seconds further back as Ricardo says, oh my days, you're trying too hard to speak the German. And Danke to you, Ricardo. Yes, we know you're out there lurking. Please consider following, or just get really close to the microphone. And if you don't, ASMR, and I put extra butter on my toasties to get them nice and crispy on the outside, and then when I've done that I go and anyway, we'll get back to the comments, I think, with 10 minutes to go. If you don't want to lose your leggies, if you want to use your leggies. And there we go. I'm naturally bi multifunctional. What does that say? Oh, geez, this laser eye surgery, I tell you what. Dr. Kenneth Chan is out there watching from Medinick Laser Clinic at Epworth in Richmond there in Melbourne. Still not quite 20/20 vision out there, Dr. Chan, but I'll be there shortly to give you another $300 for a 6-minute appointment. Multifunctional as you're typing Afrikaans, Dankische, and is it just naturally... Kid Byers is just naturally multilingual. He doesn't even know it. The only issue is, Chuck Norris, I can't read.
Well, do I have news for you, Trev? You know that reading, writing hotline?
Yes! 1300-65506. The reading, writing hotline. Do you want me to ring it now, actually? Let's have a look here.
Didn't we try and ring that one time and it didn't actually go anywhere? To this number is no longer available.
1300-65506. Let's have a quick geezer at this.
I love how you were singing it as you were typing it into the phone.
We're either on the phone at the moment or you've called out of hours. Please leave your name and your number and the area that you're calling from, and one of us will give you a call back very soon. When we call back, it will show on your phone as a number starting with
I don't want to leave a message here because I might be.
Thanks very much for calling the hotline. Speak to you soon.
And we'll leave that there. I don't want to take up space for people who actually need help with reading and writing. But anyway, all jokes aside, well, I didn't think they'd answer that. Well, they didn't answer it. It was a message. I got the message back but had the option there, Chuck, to leave a message if you're out there. I'll tell you what, not being able to read or write, Chuck, it shouldn't be a live sentence. And let me tell you, you can ring 1300-655-05 and get the help you need. But Mark, oh my goodness, he went deeper than Danny DeVito on that occasion into Stowe, I think it was. Jimbo looking racy as well. I reckon we're going to see these two or these three all together before we know it, Chuck.
Yeah, this is going to be a good photo finish between these guys. You know, if the mistakes keep coming, you know, they keep coming and they don't stop coming, you know, you never know. The track limits might end up being at the other end of that road. So, nah, this is good between Nismo, Mark and Jimbo. These guys all want to be pushing hard enough to, you know, be in front of each other for the checkered flag and not too far behind. You see Exorcist in the back of the shot every now and again. He's just lurking, Trev. He's just waiting.
There we go. Mrs. B has sent me a quick message there. Can I have some peanut butter toast? Well, that's a very unusual request. And I said, I will comply with your demands, Mrs. B, if you tune into the stream and leave a comment. As you can see there, Nismo, Mark and Jimbo and Rain of Fire. Paid advertisement, says Rain of Fire. We don't get anything from the reading, writing hotline. Nismo going a little bit deep there at the moment. But I tell you what we do get stuff from is SUDSPEED, Chuck Norris. How good is a SUDSPEED with their little thing, their little apostrophe up there? Because that is fantastic. Code Lifeline, peanut butter toast, Mrs. B now tuning in. And if you want to communicate with me between 8 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. every Thursday night, during this Lifeline charity series, she needs to do it in the comments on my Twitch stream, not talking unless it's through there, Chuck Norris. It's only fair.
Yeah, I just replied saying, no, Vegemite. You are denied from having peanut butter toast. That's it. Holidays cancelled, Kaima. We're turning this car around unless you take Vegemite. Holy Jesus. I just saw my whole bedroom, or this whole room just lit up like it was daytime, Trev. That thunder is getting close. I'm scared. Oh, here it is.
Wow, can we go to
Holy,
Mount Splashmore? Can we go to Mount Splashmore? Can we go to Mount Splashmore? No, we'll be turning this car around and none of us will be going to the Adelaide Hills. Mrs. B requesting that peanut butter toast. Nutella toast is goated, says Rain of Fire. But I tell you what is going to be goated soon is Jimbo. The Baywatch star turned Sea of Thieves extraordinaire is right behind Mark Ledwich. And the thunder is going off. It's I can hear that now, and if you live through the next 5 minutes, Chuck Norris, we've got a very racy looking Jimbo. Oh, they touch! They touch, and boy, they don't have a good history at this corner. As Ricardo trying to let us know that he knows what Nutella is the go. Peanut butter with Nutella, that's very nutty indeed. That's a little nuts on nuts action there. And you can see there Mark and Jimbo continuing on here, Chuck. He doesn't give a rat's toss bag about Mark.
Yeah, Jimbo made a mistake there, and you know, the right thing would be to give Mark back that position. But, I mean, you know, we'll leave that up to Jimbo. I mean, we know what it's like at rental cars, don't we, Trevor? You know, so I'll leave that in Jimbo's hands. Yeah, a bit of argy-bargy, you know, readjusting would have been nice. But, you know, we're getting into the closing 4 minutes of this race. And, you know, the tensions are getting higher as we get towards this check-in.
Peanut butter with Nutella is the go-to for toast. Mrs. B is... to say that the patience with Mrs. B is wearing a little bit thinner now. I'm allergic to peanut butter, says Rain of Fire. And if he eats peanut butter, is it just the smooth peanut butter or is it the crunchy peanut butter? Unless both, of course, do have some sort of nutty content. And there's a 50% chance he could die if he eats those nuts. So keep those nuts off your toast. And poor you, says Ricardo. Just as quick as the lightning and rain is here, it's all quiet now. I'm scared. Take me home, country road, to a place I belong. And great work there from John Denver, who passed away in a light plane crash, his own plane apparently. And anyway, that's the story for another day. But Jimbo's still looking racy. He's got rid of Mark, and now he's got Nismo in his sights. Is he going to be able to make it with 3 minutes to go here, Chuck Norris?
Oh, it's going to be an interesting one. 8/10 is not too much to claw out, but knowing that you've got about 2 more laps, because, seeing where Nick is coming through the final corner just about. So yeah, there's definitely going to be 2 more laps. So 8/10, 2 laps, it's definitely possible, but is Jimbo able to get away with it?
Well, Jimbo, he's been banging doors and cars. You can see there, that's the Jimbo way, isn't it? That's why we love him. He's an extremist, and we do love him on Sea of Thieves. He just adds so much to our SSR Benny, which is the name of our ship on Sea of Thieves. Great pick up, that one. Jimbo, we've seen a lot of drivers running wide at that particular corner. It really does open up the run towards Cops, as Jimbo could be in with a chance here. We'll see where our race leader is. I think this might be the penultimate lap of the race, but Nick has dominated. It has been an absolutely dominational performance here. If you combine dominate with appreciate, that's the sort of thing you get. But he has dominated and put on an absolute masterclass here tonight, Chuck, but still 90 seconds or so to go.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. If it isn't 2-minute noodles, running away with it, now we've got Nick running away with it. So maybe Nick is the next one to get, plus 40 kilos instead of everybody getting negative 40 on the BOP scale. But no, Nick's been having a pretty faultless race. You can't deny that. He might have put in a bit of practice coming into this one, or he might have, done a full no practice send. But, the one thing that we know is Nick is been on a mission, is been keeping it clean from the get-go, and Godspeed, he makes it to the checkered flag without getting a track limit warning that might see him get a drive-through.
1 minute to go. Godspeed, little doodle. And remember Nettie and Homer caught out on the... remember they discovered the Krusty Burger on the offshore oil rig? And there we go. And yeah, he was getting stuck into the 700 Krusty Burgers. And Bart was thanking him for saving them. It's like, can't talk, eating. And Dask there in third. 1 second. Hey-leo, Neberino. And Chipperton in fourth. Nismo in fifth. And he's got a Jimbo right behind him. Anything can happen with Jimbo. And it usually does, that's for sure. Mark Ledwich, wonder how that door's going. He copped an almighty pounding from Jimbo Jones. And Exo, thank you very much for that, Universal Boss. And mayonnaise, whole egg mayonnaise there in ninth. Hammer, would he be disappointed, Chuck? Because you've got to say, if you're going to run with a gold livery like that, you really do have to back it up. And the Fanatec sponsorship alongside the sides of that car and on the front bonnet and on the windshield haven't helped him at all.
Yeah, I think, Hammer might have come into this with no practice, might have never driven a GT4 as well. And, there's a lot of variables that might have come into play, especially it being Silverstone too. Oh, pardon me. The simplest of mistakes can cost you quite a bit. So, yeah, I mean, look, he's holding on to P10. I feel like he's been doing all right. So, it's just one of those ones. As I was talking about, hopefully the drive-through limits and the track limit gods don't strike Jimbo. They're blundering his booty trap because they're giving him a drive-through.
Well, you've got to say, Jimbo, we just said anything could happen with Jimbo. And it has. I tell you what, if nothing else, he's box office, isn't he? That's why we love Jimbo. It's just such a mixed bag of Allens, isn't it? Lollies. And you remember a little bloody Cam Norris on the corner of the Adelaide Rundle Mall, or whatever the hell it's called over there. Can I have my lollies, please? And yes, you can. And that's exactly what Jimbo is like. And you can just picture Cam, can't you, looking for those lollies back in 1995. And when they had the Grand Prix over there, I think Cam was 11 months old for the last ever race at Adelaide. So I'm sure he's got great memories of that. No iRacing then. No Elroy then either. I think that was his name. But who featured earlier on this evening. What an absolute muppet he was. But enough about that, because Nick is coming around the final corner to win this race. And he has taken race 3 here, round 3 of this series, the SUDSPEED Lifeline Charity Series, with thanks to SUDSPEED and Lifeline. Kilroy will finish second in this race ahead of Dusk. Those two had a great battle there, and Chipperton now coming home. As Rain of Fire says, when you could get diabetes from $2 worth of lollies because you got so many. And do you remember they used to sell them at school too, the Redskins? Or we probably can't say that anymore, but they were fantastic. Even better when they were sort of half melting in the summer heat and in the schoolyard there. Chipperton finishes 4th. Nismo, without any practice, goes across the line. He's gone from 12th to 5th. We don't talk about Elroy. Who is Elroy? Elroy is a silly South African man who just comes across on our man Nigerian Prince Norris at what, 200 k's an hour, Prince, and just decides to block the entire racetrack. And Redskins and toffee apples and implemented.
It's thunder.
Oh, what's
Trevor,
happening?
you my thunder buddy?
Yeah,
Can
am I
you
your
be my
thunder buddy? Oh, let's be real quiet so we can. Let's be real quiet. We can hear the thunder.
Yeah, you like not hearing it in the back of my mic? This is huge. If the thunder isn't coming through my mic, massive props to the software I'm using. But gee whiz.
Well, we know one thing. Jimbo, who is doing donuts on the circuit there in front of that 2D Marshall, who doesn't look very excited, does he? He's not even moving there. Jimbo just out of control there. Looks like he's bent the steering wheel and the suspension and drive train and all that sort of stuff. The axles there. As you can see the crowd there, they're waving their flags very enthusiastically. But we are going to get ready to hear from some of our drivers. We're going to start with our race winner, Nick Masterclass. Hello to you, Nick. Fantastic. First of all, thank you for joining us after the race, mate, and a fantastic performance. Do we need to charge for that lesson or clinic that you put on tonight?
Yeah, no, it was a good race. I had a bunch of laps, didn't get challenged too much, and was hoping for a little bit more excitement up front, but I'm not going to take winning the race like that. Won't happen very often, I don't believe. But yeah, it was a just pretty cool night. Pole position, fastest lap race win. I'll take the little sweep when they come. Yes, it's a good result. I'm happy with it. Not the most fun car to drive. Doesn't like to turn too well, but got a handle on it towards the end, and yeah, it was good. I'll put a shout out to poor old James. He had a good quality and a good start to the race. We had a mechanical failure. His wheel sort of switched off, which was unfortunate in his pits. So it sucks to be him for sure. It's not very fair, but it'd been good to see him up amongst it as well. But yeah, no, congrats to everyone. Good race. Happy.
Great stuff, mate. Textbook stuff. Like you said, it's always good to get the Grand Slam, I believe. Yep, fastest lap, as you said. So congratulations, mate. We'll catch you next week.
You will.
Great stuff. Nick there is Kilroy also joining us. Kilroy was here. He finished in P1 in class, P2 on the circuit. Kilroy, have we got you there loud and clear?
Yes, mate. How you going, Trev?
Fantastic, mate. Tell us about your race. A little bit of strategy going on with yourself and Dusk. Great battle there, and it ended up being just a second between yourself and Dusk there at the end, mate. But P2, P1 in your class.
Yeah, good. I was pretty happy with the race. Yeah, a bit of shame about Jimmy. He was definitely a contender. Congratulations, Nick. He just no one had pace for him. He just slaughtered it, and so good, well done. Yeah, Dusk was definitely kept me on my toes. I'm not sure if what happened in the pit stop there. I didn't take tyres though, so I was kind of hoping that maybe they were taking tyres, and it looks like maybe Dusk did, and they popped out in front of him. So that worked to my advantage, I guess. And then, yeah, he was hunting me down at the end there, so that's a good thing we ran out of laps. He probably, another lap or two, he probably would have got me. But, yeah, fun race, and, yeah, thanks for everything.
Fantastic. Thank you for putting on a show, Kilroy. Always appreciate you joining us post-race, mate. We'll catch you next week
Cheers,
for
Trev.
the final
Thanks,
round.
mate.
Great work.
Okay. Night.
And Kilroy there. Have a great night. Kilroy and Nick joining us. That's what she said. No practice makes perfect. I'll take that with both. Yes. Thank you, Rain and Fire. I was about to say, driver of the day, Chuck. Nismo would be, I know it's hard to go past Nick, but Nismo getting the moves done. P12 to P5. Fantastic work from him tonight. We're almost out of time, Chuck Norris. We will let you get back to your thunderstorm there very, very shortly. But before we do that, we're going to talk about the rest of Charity Month, Chuck Norris. We've got Red Bull Ring coming up next week. But then the big one, Chuck Norris, on August 23 to 25, SUDSPEED Lifeline, 4 hours of Kyalami. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'll update this graphic for you before we get into that one, Trev, so at least it corrects the 6 hour mark. But yeah, we're coming to the closing end of the charity series. Next week, obviously, we'll round out the weekly series at Red Bull Ring. Looking forward to seeing what cars we're going to have there. Actually, just before we do that, Trev.
Ooh.
Dusk, do we have you? I don't want you to miss out on your interview.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Trev. Quickly interview Dask, and then we'll go through this again.
Dask, I'll be as quickly as I can. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for joining us, mate. P3 tonight on track. Talk us through your race, mate, very quickly, and also your battle with Kilroy there.
Yeah, just I guess turned up for tonight and have a bit of fun, and found I had a bit of pace. So I was pretty stoked with that. I think the front engine rear-wheel drive cars suit me. So yeah, but yeah, had a good battle with Kilroy at the start there. Couldn't quite catch him in the end. Decided to not take tyres. I think he must have as well. But yeah, just couldn't quite catch up to him at the end there. But it was good fun at the start there, for definitely.
Absolutely, mate. We appreciate your time. We're going to see you next week for the final round of the charity series at Red Bull Ring next Thursday.
Yeah, I hope so, unless they're operating on my knee. But I sort of persevered through it tonight. So yeah, I mean, if it's still good for tomorrow, for next week, then I'll be there for sure.
Great work, mate. We always appreciate you taking the time out post-race. Great. Thank you for putting on a show. Of course, great battle with Kilroy, mate. You finished on the podium. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Great work, Dask there. Joining us late in the post-race driver interviews. That's all we've got time for. You can see the details for the rest of Charity Month on your screen. Chuck Norris, we've got a few viewers still out there. Can we send them somewhere? Potentially. I'll let you have a look at that. But Chuck Norris, thank you for joining us, fighting off sharks in a single bound. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll catch you next time.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, Trev. And just quickly before we go, just to round out everything that we've got coming up. So obviously we're just over halfway now through the actual charity month. So you can catch the streams that I do Vias for Voodoo Live. On top of that, next week, Thursday, Red Bull Ring season final of the weekly series, the SUDSPEED Lifeline charity series. Red Bull Ring, looking forward to seeing what cars we're actually going to be running there. Also, the 4 hours of Kyalami will have the qualifying night up on Friday, and the 4 hour race will be on Sunday. So looking forward to that. Greatly appreciate everybody tuning in, and I'll leave this last part to Trev.
Great work, Chuck Norris there, as always. Completely butchered the shout out there, Chuck. If you want to just get your little South Australian fingers in there and do your little shout out, that'd be fantastic. Hit that love heart at the top of your chat now. Yes. And that is all we've got time for, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, next week, this channel will be back at the Red Bull Ring for round 4, the fourth and final round of the Lifeline SUDSPEED charity series. Keep an eye out for Chuck Norris. Follow Vias for Voodoo Live and try and get him, he is across 400, but please donate. Do whatever you can to help out this fantastic initiative, of course. Charity Month, it's a huge month for us and everyone, with thanks to Lifeline and SUDSPEED, of course. Thank you, Nismo. Fantastic drive, giving you driver of the day. There we go. And we will catch you next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Melbourne, Sydney time, for round 4 of the charity series at the Red Bull Ring. Be kind to one another. We'll see you next time around. Bye for now.
Trevor Bears commentator, live streamer like a motorsports dreamer. Crackling jokes and cracking streams. Pop culture jokes explode at the seams. When the laps round circuits biker car. Speed so far, like shooting stars. Motorsports mania, that'll watch his channels. Take you from pit stops to panel. Virtuoso on asphalt and gravel. Commentary unravel. Grip the mic like a steering wheel. Real feel, no pretense, all deal. Loves motorsports, don't get it twisted. With his laugh hypnotic and listed. Faces fear with humor and rap. Yo Trevor, tell him about that bubble rap man. Taking command, fearless dude, pop in hand. Watch him go live, vibe so grand. Motorsports knowledge, broad as the land. Comedy tight, wrap him up tight. Crack a pop, no fight, all fight. Trevor rises, reach a new height. Bubble rap king doing right. Pop a bubble, feel the rumble. Trevor never stumbles.